Hi everyone and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Some of you know me from Swizzyinsg in Singapore, where I share my journey about moving from Switzerland to Singapore and my life here in Singapore, what I eat, what I travel, what I do, what I explore. I've received lots of questions about my moving process, about is it difficult to find a job, how is it about making friends. So feel free to leave all your comments and thoughts in the comments and I will try and make videos about it. So almost 4 months ago, I moved from Zurich to Singapore. I hope the construction work is not too loud. It has been going on for weeks. So almost 4 months ago, yeah, I moved to Singapore and everyone was like, oh, you must love Singapore. And I was like, I've never been. And then people would start telling me about the weather. Oh, it's going to be so hot. And I'm like, oh no, the weather's not going to be a problem. Because I just love the warm weather. Nevertheless, there are quite a few things I wish I knew before moving here, and that's what I'm going to share in this video. The first thing is that I was worrying about getting an apartment back from Zurich, but there's no point in trying to find an apartment back from home because everything here happened so quickly. We arrived and basically got our apartment 1 week after we got here. We saw the apartment and we actually signed the contract the next morning. So all the listings are up for or ready for moving, and so that's why it's actually, yeah, there's no point in stressing out about this. This brings me to my second point. There is no storage room in the condominiums. We have an apartment at a nice condo, but there's literally no storage room. So just make sure only bring the stuff you really need. And also apartments tend to be quite small, so there's not going to be a lot of space, so just try to limit your clothes. Next point is that I was a bit scared because just before moving here there was an article saying Singapore was ranked the fourth most expensive city in the world, and even though I was kind of used to high prices back from Zurich, I thought, oh no, like I'm gonna get broke immediately. But I mean, Singapore can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. So there are, for example, things like hawker centers. I have not heard before of hawker centers. And these are basically food stalls where you can get, it's like a European or a Western food festival where you get lots of different stalls and you can just like choose from so many different options, very cheap, super tasty. And at the grocery store, of course, there are more expensive items, but you can go to any grocery store and by choosing and picking the right options, you're going to be fine. Also, in terms of restaurants, you've got lots of lower priced, still decent and nice restaurants where you're not going to spend a fortune, but still you're going to have like a nice date night, and it won't cost you a lot. And the food is still pretty good. The next thing I'm going to talk about was completely not on my radar. So Singapore has no seasons. I knew that, right? But it's not the same for the clothing industry. So in winter, when I arrived in November, they would sell winter clothes. And I was so surprised seeing mannequins wearing like super heavy sweaters and hats and scarves. And there are basically no summer clothes in the stores. Of course, you can order online, but yeah, if you want to go shopping for summer clothes here like in November, December, January, February, there are no summer clothes. Also, the fact that Singapore has no real season makes it really hard to tell which months you're in, because usually I could tell from the weather, it's kind of springy, summer, yeah, that which month you're in, but here it's the same all year. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to talk about is the so-called Singlish language. Before moving here, I've never heard of Singlish before. It's actually a combination of Singapore, Lish English, so Singlish Singapore, and it's basically their language here. It's more of a slang. When you would ask, can I make an appointment for 7 o'clock? And they would say, can make, or they would put la at every end of their sentences. For example, we can do la, we go there la, you look pretty la. So I was a bit confused in the beginning, but after being here for a while, you get used to it and you pick up like the sentence and how they structure their sentences. Also tend to just shorten everything up. So it's pretty easy. They don't really make a full English sentence. They would just put together words. We go there là. Can do that là. There's so many things I could tell you, and this video could be 2 hours long. I'm gonna do more videos about how it is to find an apartment, how difficult it is to get a job and a visa, and how to make friends, and how my very first weeks here in Singapore were. So whatever else you're interested in, leave it in the comments. And otherwise, just follow me on Instagram, where I post lots about my life here in Singapore. That's it.